Okay, now we're picking up less than a minute from when I ended the last video, working on Sheldon's computer again, and this time we're going into the OneDrive issue to fix that. So I'm going to switch to my remote connection to Sheldon's computer and point out that there is no OneDrive icon in the system tray, which is really odd and unusual. And then Alt and the letter E to get into Windows Explorer. And here's OneDrive. So there is content in OneDrive. We've got a blue cloud here, which typically indicates that synchronization is active and current. Double click on the Documents folder, and I see a bunch of folders and dates and such, and I'm recognizing that these are similar or the same as what's in the Google Drive. So there is some overlap and replication. Now I've got a OneDrive window popping up. What's this about? OneDrive not responding. I've got Wi-Fi connectivity. And there we go. It wants to set up OneDrive. That's curious. I'm going to close that. Let's take a closer look at and compare those folders to the Google Drive. So I'm going to right click on Google Drive, open a new window, hold down the Windows key, press right arrow key, that moves that to the right half of the screen, then let go of the Windows key, and it's supposed to offer me the choice of this window to take up the left half of the screen, but sometimes this messes up. Oh, there it goes. Well, that was slow. Is the computer running sluggish? Kind of feeling like that. So the left side I have OneDrive, the right side I have Google Drive. I'll double click on my drive, and I think we're going to see that we have a lot of similarity between these folder names. Maybe what I should do is do a synchronization between the OneDrive folder and the Google Drive folder. However, it's possible there are files in the cloud OneDrive that are not locally stored. So here we're in a My Documents folder, here we're in a My Documents folder, and there's files at this level. There's files at this level. How about files that begin with 190509. That's not over here, but we have similar naming conventions in use. Scroll back up to the top of this. So on the Google side, we're not in My Documents yet. So double click on My Documents, and then go into Baker Dillon Group. Now we see some similar folder names. And it's not a complete match, obviously. Here's Baker Dillon Group down here. So there's clearly some similarities and clearly a messed up spaghetti mess, because this is the Documents folder. Over here were Documents, and inside Baker Dillon Group in lowercase. So it's like this Documents folder was copied over to this Google Drive, and this Baker Dillon group in all caps is over here as well. Now I double click into both of those on each side. We have a clients folder on each side. And wow, see, we've got a lot of client history in this OneDrive side that doesn't exist over here. If I go back up, do we have like this BioSpringer? Is it over here? No. Cart closed. Here's closed chambers on both sides. 7/9/2016, 3/8/21, 3/8. That's yesterday. Yeah, so this is all weird. So the right screen is Google Drive, the left side is OneDrive. So no, I don't think I want to synchronize those because they're too far out of sync. I think I want to fix the OneDrive on this laptop as our next step. See, in the Google Drive side, we have all these green check marks, meaning they are currently synchronized, but not so on this side because OneDrive appears to not actually be active. Now, if I go into Microsoft Word, and look through recent documents, here's that G is my test because G is a new thing. That's when I fixed the Google Drive. It created this drive letter of G. So Sheldon's never had that before. He had Google Drive as a subfolder of Sheld, and it was not synchronizing, but he was actually working with those documents. Now, if we come down here a ways and look at more history, we find here these documents are in OneDrive. That pop-up bubble there includes OneDrive. And this one includes OneDrive. And Corinna asked me in email, why are we using OneDrive? And I think the answer to that is just that the default save location in Sheldon's Microsoft Word is the OneDrive folder. So if he starts a new document and saves it and just gives it a name, by default, it's going to go into, actually I will go this way, click on save. It's going to go into the OneDrive documents folder by default. And if he goes to open a file from Microsoft Word, he gets offered this method of syncing files. So you can see recent documents here, but if he goes into browse, I think that's going to take him to OneDrive. See, it says this PC documents, but if I click up here, that still didn't reveal where these files actually are. Now, this is still not indicating OneDrive, but it's indicating this PC document. So if I open Windows Explorer, Windows key and the letter E, because I'm actually opening another one. If I go over here to Documents, and let's see if I'm seeing the same files that he's seeing here. So speaker confirmation, those aren't in alphabetical order. What order are those in? I don't know. I'm going to click to sort them in alphabetical order. And then Alt-Tab to bring us back to here. So yeah, see, this is the same listing from this documents folder. Now if I click up in here, That still doesn't reveal it to be OneDrive, but if I right-click here, choose Properties, and choose Location, and here we see that that Documents folder is actually coming from OneDrive. So he's automatically opening files from OneDrive and saving files from OneDrive, depending upon how he goes about opening the files from Word. But if he just starts a brand new document, it's going to save in the OneDrive folder. And I'm certain he was not aware of that. Now, I want to find out in the cloud version of the OneDrive folder, how recent are the files that are in there. So to go to that, I'm going to launch his Microsoft Edge. I could do it through Google Chrome, but I'm going to treat Google Chrome as being their Google sphere. And for the Microsoft side, let's use Microsoft Edge. It just kind of makes sense, right? So now if I go to office.com, and select Sheldon's account, and then come to OneDrive. Oh, wait a minute. Oh yeah, this is SB. All right, we're in the right account. Personal Vault, no. We're in My Files. Now, does this show us recent? It's showing 20.8 gigabytes used. Oh, here's recent. So 2017, 2016. So it looks like his OneDrive cloud account has not been used since 2017. But there are files in the local OneDrive folder that are more recent. So if I come back to his OneDrive folder over here and scroll down to the actual files, see, there's a January 15th. Well, debug, that's kind of irrelevant. There's September 2020, 2019. So there's certainly stuff in here more recent than the cloud OneDrive, which is showing 2017 as the most recent. So my choices here, I could reconnect to the cloud OneDrive and let them synchronize. Is that important? Do we need that? What we really need is to grab the files that need to be moved to the Google Drive that are not already there. This is going to be difficult. Because how do we identify what files are in his OneDrive that should have been saved to the Google Drive, and they're going to be in a different folder structure? The OneDrive is not currently installed on the laptop, and we don't really want it to be or need it to be. So why should I do that and then let it spend the time synchronizing when we really don't need that? But what we do need is the documents that are in the OneDrive folder on his laptop need to be moved to the Google Drive folder into the correct subfolder. And if there's any duplications of file names, either of the file names could have been modified. They're out of sync with each other, but it's possible that they're not, see, ideally one of them would be modifications to the other, but it's possible that they've been modified on both sides. And that could be an important distinction. And it could be that I'm sweating over this when they don't really care about it. But how do we resolve that? I have to be able to explain and show to them the problem and then let them determine how to resolve it. Okay, so if I go up to the OneDrive level, there's not much there. I'm going to check music, nothing there that we care about. Pictures, how can I stop that from coming up? There's a bunch of pictures. So if I come over here to my drive and up one more to Google Drive, there is no pictures folder. Come back up to this level and go back into Documents. So these folders, this Documents folder does not match this Documents folder, but I think this Documents folder does match what's inside the Baker Dillon Group folder. So 1326, yes. Here's some folders in Sheldon's OneDrive that are not on the Google Drive. Quite a lot of them, it looks like. Tax reporting over here and tax information over here. So what if I synchronize these two folders with each other? And then this Baker Dillon Group is on both sides, but the contents of it differs. So there's a lot of stuff in OneDrive that looks like it might be needed. And I could use Handy Backup to synchronize between those. All this BDG stuff, well, that's on the Google side, so that's okay. BDG logos, is it over here? Yes. How similar are those folders? There's more on the Google side. They look pretty similar. Databases on the OneDrive. Databases does not exist over here. For all I know, they may have copied all this over back in history and then deleted the ones that they don't care about or don't want. Or moved them to a different subfolder, for all I know. So if I take my own initiative and synchronize these two, that could be really unwelcomed. So I'm thinking the right way to do this is to connect remotely with Sheldon and go through these line by line. Also change the default setting in Word Also, another possibility is to copy everything after a certain date from the OneDrive side to the Google side. I think it feels foolish for me to do something of my own initiative in regards to this. Yeah. So this has most recent January 22nd, 2017. Okay, so the reason why he's been saving by default to that folder is because the Documents folder is pulling from OneDrive. What we really ought to have is this changed to be the Google Drive. If I click move, does that actually move documents from OneDrive to Google Drive? That would be a wrong thing to do. Okay, so I think what I've done here is I've identified the problem or the challenge, and I don't know right now what the best approach is. So I think I'm going to walk away from it for a while and come back later. So I'll probably be tagging on another video to the end of this one because I don't know where to turn with this right now. So I'll catch you later. Okay, I think I've got it figured out. So we don't know for sure if Sheldon's going to stay with the old laptop or go to the new laptop. So that means in regards to, I was concerned about moving this default folder or not. That's going to be irrelevant if he winds up staying with his laptop. He does want to be able to use virtual backgrounds in videos, and he's been told that this computer was just too old, and that might be the case. But as far as figuring out which files need to move from that OneDrive folder into the Google Drive folder, he's got to be involved in that. He's just going to have to be involved in that. So I'll deal with that remotely after he has the computer back. What I'm going to do next, I'm about to end this video and start another one and try out this Logitech webcam on the old computer in regards to virtual backgrounds, and then see what I can do about improving the performance of the old computer, or consider whether that's even looks viable. If it doesn't look viable, then there's no point in going any further, but there's a number of things that I could do to make it perform better. Okay, so I think that's it for this video. If you want to send, if you want to make a request for a computer support session with me, send an email to the address on your screen right now, DougBetts@LiveWindowsTraining.com. Give me an idea in the body of the email what you'd like to have help with, and we'll put it together. So I hope this video has been useful, helpful, informative, whatever. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.